Hello, welcome to Pop Along RC, the RC car channel dedicated to RC car racing. And if you are a regular to the channel, you'll know that I am a massive fan of short course trucks, stadium trucks, truck racing basically. And there is not enough truck racing here in the UK. Over in the States it seems to be a lot more popular than it is over here. But this year I set myself a little goal and I failed miserably. So the plan was I was going to take this ready to run short course truck and try and get it competing at the Nationals. However, I took it to Mill End on a couple of occasions and it couldn't compete with the Technos and some of the other cars that were there that were sort of race spec short course trucks. So I didn't actually go to the Nationals this year. However, I still had a lot of fun running short course trucks at Mill End and a couple of other clubs as well. I took them for a bit of a spin. And then over on this side, this majestic, amazing, absolute beast of a machine is the FTX Grand Apache, a 1/7 scale trophy truck. Absolutely love this, complete beast. At the moment, the weather's a little bit dodgy outside, and I've got some big plans for this as we enter into 2026. But I want to get racing. So we have a new addition to the channel. We have the PRSCT. This is a 1/10 scale four-wheel drive electric competition short course truck. Comes in kit form. So in this video what I'm going to do is I'm going to get inside the box, we'll have a little look at what we get, and then it's time for me to get into the workshop and get this thing built. And 2026 is the year. So if you are interested in any of the PR racing products, do check out Modeltune. They have all the cars over there in their range, and they have got obviously two-wheel drive buggies, four-wheel drive buggies, and also we've got these short course trucks here. So packaging wise, nice box, some nice drawings on the side of the box. Shows you pretty much what you're going to get. But let's get inside and get started with the book. So first of all we have got here our book, which has got all our instructions in. Looks pretty clear, just going for a little flick through there. Looks very similar to the four-wheel drive buggy that they have, and obviously we've got our stickers there as well. So move that aside and let's have a little look in the box. So all the bits are bagged up separately. So this is bag A. So if we open up bag A, we'll see what we've got. There we go. So we have got A3, that'll be diffs there, and then we've got A1 and 2. So we've got these carbon fibre parts that need to be attached to the chassis. Let's have a little look at the chassis. Actually take that out and have a little look. Nice. So we've got some nice wheels there, so I'm going to have to look into, in fact, if you can let me know what foams and what tyres do I need to run on a short course truck if I'm going to be running it on Astro. So comment down below, what wheels am I going to need. So this is bag E, and as you can see in this bag we've got the oil filled shocks, fully adjustable. So we're going to have to get those built up. Again, comment down below, running on Astro, what oils would you suggest? I do believe they've got some setup tips inside the manual, which obviously I'll get onto when we come to building this car. But yeah, any advice really on getting a buggy set up would be great. Have another little look in this one. So we've got here our body posts. Again, another question for you. What body are you running? So this is a kit, but it doesn't come with a body. So what shell do I need to get to fit on this chassis? So there's definitely going to be some shopping to be done. Again, electrics. What am I going to run electrics wise? So if we're going off to the BRCA Nationals, what is your recommendation in terms of turns on motor and motor ESC combinations? So please pop that in the comments down below. And I think that's kind of it really. So we've got all our parts. It's time to start building up the car. So questions that I've got then is shock setup, diff setup, tyre setup, and body shell. So they're the questions I've got for you. Pop them in the comments down below. Okay, so it's time to get on with the build. Like any build, it's good to be prepared and take your time. So like with many builds that I do, I organise step by step and sort of go through. I like the way this manual works. Obviously, you've got bag A and steps for each bag, so you only need to get out a few screws at a time. The chassis is really nice, and obviously we've got these plastic braces, but then they're topped with the carbon fibre, which adds that sort of rigidity to the chassis. In terms of the builds, we're running hex drivers. I think they're M3 bolts, pretty much all of these. They are lots of different sizes though, so you've got sort of varying lengths, so it is worth taking your time to make sure you get the right screws for the right part of the job. I've done quite a few builds on the channel now, and sometimes I do little time lapses like this. Sometimes I break it down into sort of steps. What would you like to see on the channel? Would you rather we took the videos a little bit slower and talked through individual steps? Would that be a bit long and boring? Anyway, on to the diffs. Now, in terms of the diffs, there was a little E-clip, C-clip, or whatever you call them. Very, very fiddly. In terms of getting the C-clip on this part, it was a lot easier if you have the right tool for the job, and I had these super thin nose pliers. Now onto the diff. Obviously in the manual it gives you info on what diff oil to use. I went with what I had in my collection, as close to it as possible. In terms of the centre diff, I chose to stick with 48 DP because I have many pinions. And then obviously the diff casing. The diff casing for the front and the rear is identical actually. So you can build these up both at the same time, but you need to make sure you get the right shaft or prop shaft that's coming out here, because they are slightly different lengths, front and rear, and obviously the diffs are going to be set up differently. Lovely carbon fibre shock towers. Again, front and rear shock towers are identical. So whatever you build at the front, you can do at the back. It just saves a little bit of time if you're sort of doubling up and doing it all at once. Now then, on to this part. It is worth noting those little pins, there's two different ones. There's a silver one and a black one, so you've got to make sure you get the right ones for this. And you can see them in the bag there. I've got this little magnetic tray which I tend to put all my bits in, and I can then take my time and sort out exactly what I need. And again, as I mentioned earlier on, some of the parts look the same but are slightly different sizes, and this is a great example where you've got 3 different ball studs, all different lengths. Now that the front end's starting to go through, it is worth noting this car comes with anti-roll bars, so you've got slightly different thickness. You've got the black stripe one on the front. I think the rear one's a yellow one. In terms of the rear arms, drive shafts here, there's a little pin which the spring holds it in on the front, but at the back it's the bearing. Really like these hexes. These ones are 6.2. I think the front ones were width of 5.4, so slightly narrower. Really, really smooth. steering rack, as we've put that in. It's got the bearings in there, running super smooth. The car is really coming together now. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the top deck on, screw that into place, and then I'm going to call it a day for this video. Hopefully you've enjoyed the build so far. You can like, subscribe and hit the old ding dong bell. And in the next video we are going to be looking at the shocks. I still need to decide what wheels to buy. I need to still decide on the shell and the electrics. So if you're interested, like, subscribe, hit the old ding dong bell, and we'll see you again soon.